Now this is what I'm talking about. Episode 15 of Ranking of Kings. This is like the redemption moment for Domas, who has made some very, very questionable mistakes. And you see the fear in Bojji, you see the rage in Bojji, but the moments where, first the comedic relief of him trying to end his life in, repair, being like, I apologize for everything, let me take my own life, but his trained body is just too strong to get a knock to the head in order to kill him, which honestly, truth be told, I actually thought he was gonna, be bleeding or something, but so the kind of, comedic relief to kind of ease that tension I thought was definitely welcomed. But when you really see him stand up after seeing big man in charge get electrocuted, I was like, holy shit, bringing an ogre to a sword fight, you're pretty much going to have a one-sided fight here. And then to see him get fried like he was on the barbecue, I was like, shit, the tides are really turning, as they already were throughout this episode. So to see Domas stand up knowing that he could easily be killed there, sure, big man's probably okay. Gagan's probably going to be able to get back up from that. But getting shocked like that for a normal person, even one of the four of the king, it's something that you're probably going to die for. And I know Domas, like many characters, have had a lot of controversy in this show because, pushing off Best Boy, all these things. But the whole point of this show is to show the many sides of humanity, I think. And I think given the circumstances surrounding things, and definitely the guilt and the attempts of redemption, there's only one character for sure who could say whether or not there is a need for forgiveness, which is Bojji. And as it stands, Bojji would not want to be in the same room as Domas. But in this circumstance, when you have the king of the underworld and the warriors of the underworld, having this entire army, it's no laughing matter. At that point, given the fact that Domas clearly isn't working with him, you gotta take all the allies you can get. And depending on circumstances, Bojji may come out of this battle forgiving Domas, or maybe it'll be one of those things that he can't forgive, but maybe he can forget for the time being. Either way, watching essentially one big action episode and really having Domas steal the show, I thought was welcome because, one, we get a taste of his prosthetic hand. I can't remember if we've seen that before or not. Either way, we haven't really seen it in action anyway, so to see him basically go up against this guard, it's no laughing matter. The fact that he immediately went strategic, because there's no way, unless you're the king in terms of being King Bose in his giant body, there's no way you can deal with that many soldiers unless you can, electrocute them all yourself. So the idea of taking the high ground and allowing only a few at a time to come get him, and the fact that as he's actually, because literally, compared to what's been going on recently, when he was traveling with Bojji, when he was basically training, he wasn't doing missions like these, so he probably is going to be a little rusty, and to see him just, not only take care of the guard, but also make sure that he's not killing them, to which he even gets called out, why aren't you using the front of your sword? Why are you using the back of it? Because he doesn't know what the hell's going on, and I really like the escalation of that battle, almost like the more people who come up, and then when you finally get one of the bigger guardsmen who has, he was twirling on that sword like a badass. I was like, okay, he's not going to beat him, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a cut, if not, I don't know, the characters are losing their limbs left and right. It wouldn't be shocking to see him maybe lose a leg or something as well. But to see how just the way he overcame so many hurdles to them, the realization that the king of the underworld was right behind them. You knew he was a part of this battle somewhere. I just wasn't necessarily expecting him in that moment. And when the presence did arrive, there's no other way, I think, you could have ended that circumstance than a kick to the groin, because this man is a troll. He is a bastard. He's an asshole. But he is someone who is just so good at humiliating others. And the fact that we're building up, right? Domas coming up with this plan, okay, I'll make sure he drops his blade and then I'll go in for the attack. And then you just get this kick to the groin, and just how he's making fun of him, being like, we ain't even gonna kill anyone here. There's only one person we're gonna kill. And Domas probably thinking to himself, what the hell, how could you even think to be able to beat the king? He's like, well, now that he's in a small body, I can. We know he still has the strength of the king, but I do think maybe because he is in Daida's body, that could allow for him to be able to beat him, because even though the strength is still there, you could probably strike vital points a lot easier than on a giant's body who hovers over the entire town. Either way, the fact that Moranjo is probably going to be the real one who's going to get killed. They pretty much set it up in this episode, right? Basically blaming Moranjo for releasing the prisoners. And I think if the king gets in the way, he's probably going to try to kill the king. If the king doesn't get in the way, then he's just gonna try to kill Miranjo. So it's gonna be interesting to see, because Bojji definitely has loyalty to Miranjo, but at the same time wants his family to be safe. So it would be a very interesting fight if King Bojji as well as the King of the Underworld did duke it out. And if somehow the King of the Underworld overpowered King Bojji, would he deliver the finishing blow, or attempt to anyway? Because really, the main person he wants to kill is Miranjo, but he also would kill anyone probably who got in his way and, ruin that chance. So it's interesting, because building up throughout the episode, it's kind of looking like he's trying to overthrow King Bojji, right? But then as it reaches the climax there, the ending, and the cliffhanger kind of leaves us off wanting more, we realize that King Bojji very much could be completely ignored if he stays in that cell, but we know damn well if Miranjo does get in trouble, there is some compassion there, but at the same time, there's all these conflicting feelings, right? So either way, it's going to be exciting. I'm just very interested to see, is Bojji going to defeat the king before any of that could even happen? Because we know Bojji's quite strong these days, and even though there's a lot of oh man, look at this puny kid, what the hell does he think he can do? I wouldn't be shocked if we see a situation next week where Bojji is attacking people left and right, knocking people out, and then maybe, King of the Underworld actually will put up a good fight, either defeat Bojji, or maybe Bojji will get that finishing blow. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But I think in terms of an episode setting up that reunion, that dreadful reunion between Bojji and Domas, I think they nailed it, because this is a man who didn't know what was going on, wasn't going to take the lives of people, even though he very well could have, and there would have been a completely logical argument to be made why it was okay for him to slash down deadly every single one of those people, not knowing who the hell they are. But given the fact that there's so much, corruption in this kingdom right now, you don't know who's friend or foe. He took the right route. He made sure that he didn't get Hokuro involved so that he would get killed, He knew he could take it, and just seeing the devastating force of one of the King's Four, it was absolutely incredible. And to see that reunion scene between Bojji and him, it's one of those moments where most people are probably watching the show being like, damn, I hope he does die when he drops down. And then just see that he's backing Bojji, being like, if Bojji wants to kill him, he would gladly get on two knees and say, stab my heart. He absolutely would in that moment. But the most important thing right now is to defeat the enemy at hand. And you need all the help you can get. And this is the beginning of redemption. Whether that redemption comes through and Bojji accepts it is another question for another day. But as it stands, this was the start of something big. And we still got another 8 episodes or so of this show. And I'm excited to see where they're going to go from here. I've probably been one of the biggest supporters online for Ranking of Kings since it started up. And I'm so happy to see that even after all these weeks and all these months, that it just feels like it's getting more exciting, more exhilarating, and more intense as the episodes pass. But of course, I'd pass the torch over to you. What did you think? Especially if you either were a big hater of Domas, big lover of Domas, kind of in the middle, because this really was his episode. What did you think of what went down, and what do you think is going to go down now that the kind of crew's all together and, the queen is off, most likely safe underground with the snakes and everything like that, as you have probably one of the most wholesome scenes, with her saying, I raised that boy, of course he became a badass, basically. But thoughts and feelings, because this was definitely a great episode once again. But let me know your feelings down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.